Hey everybody, welcome back to Late Night Review. My name is Elizabeth Adgon. So hot here. And we are going to be reviewing a review of a review of a review. This guy right here, he is reviewing another individual's video, and the other individual is Lawrence. He lives in America, married to his wife who was American, but he was from Great Britain. This guy right here on the screen, he still lives in Great Britain, and he's reviewing Lawrence's video. So I'm going to review their video and then answer any questions that they have and point out differences between what Lawrence experiences over in the Midwest compared to what I've experienced my 43 years on this planet here in the Southwest. All of the United States, but very different cultures or experiences within each state, I would say. So let's take a look at that.
I only encountered after moving to America. Really curious to see what we got in this. Before we do, appreciate if you guys can hit that subscribe button, and let's see what summer's like.
Hot. It's hot.
Summertime has come for the Northern Hemisphere, and back when I lived in England, this came with barbecues,
is that
rides
that
at the
game?
beach, and 99 flakes.
Right. We don't do this.
Moving to the United States, I discovered countless summertime traditions I never knew existed. So
Okay.
join me on this sizzling day in June to find out what I'm going on about. But first,
I'm excited
because this is the Midwest. Yesterday's downpour got me thinking about another liquid-based phenomenon that Americans experience at this time of year.
What?
Swimming pools. This is particularly true in the sense of pool
A must.
parties. And these are like regular parties, just with
Okay, well, I assume that you guys do more pool parties because, like, you have more houses that will have pools. In the UK, it is very, 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 very rare for a house to have a pool. Like, yeah, if somebody's really rich in a massive house, they might have a pool, but I've never seen one. I've never heard of anyone having one. Pool, but I've never seen one. I've never heard of anyone having one. Like,
Wait, what? You've never seen one?
like in the UK, the only pools we have would be like the blow-up ones, right? Which some people might have, not really big ones because we can't fit in the garden. But yeah, some people might have that.
There's not a lot of pools out here either. We do have more space to hold a pool, but it's not really something you're going to see often. I myself, we have a pool, but it's an above ground pool. To have an actual in-ground pool like you're seeing in this picture here, it's very rare to see that. I mean, I could look up on Google Maps right now and see probably maybe like 6 swimming pools within like a mile distance, but it's not going to be something that every house is going to have because, well, they're expensive. There's one pool. Looks like one anyway. There's another. That's an above ground pool. Let's see. None of these houses have pools. I mean, you can see the size of their backyard, but people just don't always have them. This looks like grass. There's a swimming pool. There's one. There's a couple. That might be about right, unless I just pointed out the same ones. I don't know. So yeah, maybe like 6 out of like 1,000 homes. It's not too prevalent. And I think growing up, how many people actually had in-ground pools?
A few moments later.
I think only one person I knew who actually had an in-ground pool. Everybody else has above ground pools, and like he just described here, yeah, Arab pools. Kids always had Arab pools. Definitely we have more room for it, but it's going to cost money, especially if you live in the city and you're paying for water. It's going to cost money to fill up your pool. So also, he's saying pool parties. No one really has pool parties around here. Now, I'm not saying that doesn't exist because I've been to pool parties. I guess swimming is a pretty big thing because there's the cliche that women love shoes. I have never cared for shoes. I'm not like a shoe collector. But what I did love were swimsuits. And I used to carry a swimsuit in my car, like in my 20s, just in case I was going to someone's house and we were going to hang out in the hot tub. Of course, I was going to use a swimsuit. I wasn't going to do like some of these girls who just use their undergarments. I'm a little more conservative than that. So I carried a swimsuit with me. And when I went to the lake, I used to have a bunch of swimsuits, and everyone used to make fun of me. They used to say I was like the Paris Hilton because I always had a new swimsuit every day, which to me I'm just like, or even from like morning to afternoon, but I'm just like, why do you want to stay in the same like dirty swimsuit? Yuck. But that might just be me because I like swimsuits. But of course I don't care for them anymore now that I have a child. That whole lifestyle kind of went out the window, and so yeah, maybe. So yeah, when I went to the lake, I used to have a bunch of swimsuits, and everyone used to make fun of me. They used to say I was the Paris Hilton because I always had a new swimsuit from like morning to afternoon. But that might just be me because I like swimsuits. If you guys don't have room for swimming pools, do you guys have room for hot tubs? That takes up less space. Let's watch a little further.
The scantily clad people. So a lot like regular parties.
Right.
That was a joke, Mum. But pool parties aren't really a thing in England.
No.
I'm thinking, oh, Lawrence, why is that?
No.
Because you don't have swimming pools in the UK. Of course we do. Do you think my childhood badges just earned themselves? No, it's just that outdoor residential swimming pools are a bit harder to come by.
Right, that's
Most
true.
of us just don't have the yard space. Or
Yeah, like look at this, bro. Where are we putting a pool? Look at this. UK neighborhood.
Yeah,
Can't
definitely.
even see a back garden, bro.
have the yard space or the wet.
And also, just so in case you don't know, people in Great Britain call their yards gardens, versus here we actually call a garden like a section of land where you're growing like vegetables or flowers or whatever it is you're growing in that area.
All the money. But on that last point, I've learned that Americans have a cheat code. You see, when I saw these things in
Cheat code?
movies, I used to think that pool parties were reserved for rich people. But
Right.
here's something that you might not know about me. Back when I was making just above the US minimum wage, I lived at not one, but two different apartment complexes that threw pool parties.
Wow.
What?
This was from a time before I documented every second of my life. So
Wait, the apartment blocks throw their own pool pot? Oh, that's sick. And that's a good way to like meet your neighbors.
I'm grateful to have never lived in an apartment, but people that I do know who live in apartments have never mentioned anything about their apartments having pool parties. Those apartments do have swimming pools, but they're always like empty, even though they look clean and everything. I usually don't ever see anybody in the swimming pools. So, just keep watching.
Or bad way if they're crazy. I don't know.
there's no actual footage of me in my swimming trunks. However, ChatGPT incorrectly thinks that I probably look like this, and that I somehow invited Uncle
He must pay for ChatGPT because ChatGPT always says, I'm working on your thumbnail, and it never creates one.
Toby, my wife's cousin Chad,
Okay.
Chainsaw Jim, and Suburban Sue.
Sure.
All I remember is this obnoxious drunk who thought it would be funny to do a cannonball right in front of me. His parents grounded him soon after
he's so
that. Here's
mad.
something that I often witness in America, but not so much in Britain. Block parties.
Block parties.
Block parties. Huh.
Ah?
It's not uncommon during a walk with the puppies. What doing, Heidi? That I turn toward a street only to be blocked off by the word road closed. Such restrictions
What?
span one block and contain a bouncy castle, several humans, and 5 screaming kids.
Wait, so I know what a block is. A block is like a block and like kind of like a neighborhood, right? Like a block of houses and stuff.
Same here, yeah.
So you're allowed to block off the road in that neighborhood to throw a block pie, a neighborhood pie? Am I getting that right or not?
Yeah, you're getting that right. I have never seen a block party in my 43 years on this planet. I've lived here my entire life in New Mexico. So apparently those just aren't a big thing out here in the Southwest. Maybe if you live somewhere out here in the Southwest, you've seen this. I've never seen it. I've never heard of any friends or any relatives ever talking about their neighborhood having a block party. That might be something they do in this Midwest, because I've just never seen that.
But to the extent that block parties do exist in Britain, Brits are more likely to call them street parties because block in this sense still hasn't caught on in Britain.
Right, yeah, we don't have block form places. Street parties, right. So I have heard of a couple of street parties, and my mum and dad actually did sort one out with their street, but it was only a tiny street. Like it was literally like probably a street of 10 houses. And why did they throw it? They threw it for some reason. One, it was hot, that's why. And it was just a unique, cool thing to do. But they're very rare. Like in the UK, they really are.
Furthermore, British street parties are usually reserved for major royal landmarks or the end of your average world war. In America, they're reserved for Saturdays. And this country is home to all kinds of block parties, like the hip-hop variety that emerged in the 70s to a basic community cookout.
Hey, there's one thing I've learned about American, man. Like, you guys really do love to celebrate and party. Like, you do. You guys celebration for absolutely everything, and you go above and beyond. Like, it's a cool thing to see.
One year, my wife...
I would disagree with that. My family doesn't throw parties just to throw parties. I honestly dread the holidays because I don't like associating with people. I mean, of course, I don't mind associating or hanging out with my mom, my sister, my brother. Outside of that, I'm just like, I just want to be by myself with my dogs. Of course, they're always at the party too.
I accidentally gate crashed an Ed Sheeran tribute act. Don't look at me like that. He was blocking access to Kroger. Which really makes you rethink the meaning of block party.
Right. Well, they are blocking.
In a few short days, the United States celebrates its 249th birthday, and I used to think that for its age it looked quite good, until I realised that...
This is true. This video I'm making after 4th of July. It is true, everybody here loves, I guess I can't say everybody, because there's a lot of people who hate America, which I don't know why they're here, or why they're trying to change America into some other country. It's like, just go over to that country. But you can see I have my earrings, my little flag earrings, my nails, they're still painted red, white, and blue. I have pins here on my desk. It's a little Mickey Mouse, red, white, and blue. This other little pin, a pencil. This is, let me look, like looking around. I made this little coaster, which is the flag. My son got this at the 4th of July parade, which is just like a little squishy thing. We definitely do love red, white, and blue and celebrating the 4th of July. I don't, like I said, I don't like to party, so we didn't have a party or anything, but love watching the fireworks and always excited to wear the red, white, and blue.
Is probably due to all of the Botox. Either way, one thing that you can count on at this time of year is...
You know what? I've gotten Botox in my life one time, and it wasn't for like vanity. I get a lot of migraines, and my doctors had thought that maybe if we did like the Botox treatment, it would numb those nerves in my head here that would stop the migraines. It helped reduce them, but it didn't stop them. And that was like one of the most painful things I've experienced. The tears coming out of my eyes were like shooting out of my eyes, not like dripping down my face, like they were shooting out. It was so painful. Every time they stuck the needle into my head, it sounded like if you got eggshells and crushed them, that's the way it sounded every time it went in, and it was so painful. But that was probably 15 years ago, maybe longer. Yeah, probably longer than that. So it was the only time I did it, and I don't ever plan on doing that again because it was painful.
4th of July parades.
Oh, wait, 4th of July is very soon. Hey, listen, I will be streaming quite a long time during 4th of July. It'll be on twitch.tv/L3WG. There'll be a link in the description. If you guys are busy and you want to celebrate it with me and the fellow Americans, some Canadians and some British people that's going to be in my stream, yeah, make sure you do join up. It'll be good vibes. You guys can show me some pictures. I do want to see actually the food that you guys eat, and I'm going to do a video on it for 4th of July. So if you guys could take pictures and then go over to my stream and send them me there, you could just ask where can I send them, and I'll send you a link to put your pictures on. Do that because it'll be on my Discord. That'd be really cool.
Usually the meals that we have for 4th of July out here are usually like barbecues, and usually what's served is like hamburgers, hot dogs, brats, stuff like that. Get tired of it after having it for so many years. So this year I actually did something completely different, which was very non-traditional, as I made fajitas. That's what we ate. So, I mean, it's not anything worth taking a picture of, but I mean, you can have potato salad, maybe barbecue brisket, kind of basic stuff.
They're a bit like block parties, except in this instance, fire trucks are just there for aesthetic purposes. Basically, people flank the streets while large vehicles rev their engines. Freedoms and traffic pollution. I've been to several of these now, but history has not been kind to the version of me that flexed a Union Jack in the early days. Even my American family members sought revenge many years later. But parades marking America's independence from the British are surprisingly not very common in Britain. Unless the king decides to open a hospital or 11 people win a trophy. So, what have we learned from the first half of this video?
What he's meaning right there, 11 people win a trophy, is if England win in the football soccer cup, right? Which hasn't happened for a very long time.
Americans will throw a party for just about anything.
That's cool, I like that.
There are party games. And one of those is a game
We
that
don't
I've
do
never
this
heard
one.
of, called Cornhole.
Yeah.
What's Cornhole, Lawrence? Well, it's a game where you have a board like this with a hole in it, and another one that your opponent uses.
Would
You
be
set them
fun.
27 feet apart for some reason, and you both stand next to one of the boards and try to throw beanbags into the hole of the other board.
Those
You
are
get
fun.
points and stuff.
It's
Okay.
not.
I might get one, because
Don't.
honestly, like, we have kids around, like my nieces and nephews all the time and stuff. It would be fun just to play, like, in the summer.
So I'm going to stand next
No, I'm shocked here.
to my opponent's board, which is broken, and I'm going to throw all of my bags into that hole. That is not a euphemism. And I've just remembered you have to throw it underarm, which I'm not very good at. And
Okay.
I don't have an actual opponent.
I believe in you.
My wife's not here, and the dogs just want to eat these.
Look how happy he
Like
is.
that, my dog will probably want to eat it constantly. Yeah.
Look at that. That was beautiful.
Nice job.
Heidi, I got 3 points. You're supposed to get 7, so
Oh.
I've got to do more.
Oh, so there's like a
The only
Hey, that
question is,
counts.
goal
do you
amount.
like- No, seriously, I asked you online a couple of days ago, do you like cornhole? Thousands of you answered. The options were absolutely,
Okay.
yes for some reason,
Okay.
no, and
Boring.
the onomatopoeic word for snoring. Today, I can reveal what Americans actually feel about cornhole.
Okay, I'm
The results
curious.
are as
Yeah, me
follows.
too.
The least popular response, with 17% of the vote, is no, which would be an encouraging sign for the sport.
How is that number not higher? Mind blown with that. Like, what?
I like
However,
it.
the second least popular option was absolutely. In second place, with almost a quarter of the vote, was
Ooh.
which means that our winner, with 39% of the vote, is yes for some reason. So just
Okay, that's interesting though. Hey, listen, you could combine it. So this is a whole whopping 59%. Yeah, quick maths. And then this is 41. So okay. So yes is winner.
That is surprising to me because that is such a boring game. I don't think I've ever been to a party in my life who somebody had cornhole. I think I played that game maybe in elementary school and PE, which is physical education, so you're required to do that. Apparently it's not something that's big out here in the Southwest. Something I do remember growing up seeing and still sometimes see is a game called horseshoes, and you're just throwing a horseshoe, trying to get it to like land on a stake that's in the ground or the closest. I don't know how the points go. I never played it. I just remember like my uncles and such playing that game when I was little. And if you go to the lake, I'm sure somebody's gonna have horseshoes there. I don't know about cornhole, so that is surprising that that number is so high. Like I said, that might be something that's pretty big in the Northwest. I don't know. You tell me, leave it in the comments if this is something you play in, what state you're in, because even if you're here in New Mexico, is this something that you grew up seeing at parties? I've never seen this.
More than half of America by his poll.
Don't waste your money on that game. It's
For some
boring.
reason. So just to clarify, the majority of Americans either find it painfully dull or
It is.
can't articulate why they like it.
Right.
So,
It's
riddle me
rough.
this, America. If so few of you are cornhole fanatics, how is it that the game is not just a holiday pastime, but a bona fide televised sport? This is something I discovered a
Mind blown again.
topic. As I wrote at the time, they keep cutting to one of the players' wives. Her name is Shelby. Shelby is crying tears of joy after her husband, himself a picture of elation, just cornholed slightly harder than his opponent. Anyway, apparently Nate
Dude, that sounds so wrong.
Richard really doesn't want
I'm just like shocked. There's a whole tournament for this. is there an Olympic sport on this as well? Like, this is a lot for my brain. This is such a boring game.
To play cornhole because we're having to abandon this shoe once again for thunder. Cut.
You know what? I remember a game similar to that growing up, and it was like a same type of board in a way, but it was you play tic-tac-toe, and so you would throw those little bean bags and try to get a tic-tac-toe win. But that was also like at school, so I don't know about this.
Damn, bro.
If I could go back to any time in history, I'd go back to earlier in the video when I said this. You see, when I saw these things in movies, because the word summer and movies make me think of three things.
What's
American
that?
summer blockbusters, American drive-in movie theatre.
Oh, wait, yeah, in America, you guys actually have the drive-in movie theaters, don't you? Yo, I see them in movies. They look sick.
And that time
Me too. I saw those in movies growing up, and I thought that would be the coolest thing. And I remember talking to my parents about it, and I remember my mom saying that I think in the town that she went to college, that they had a drive-in movie theater or something. And I was just like, wow, that's so cool. Why don't they have those anymore? And she's like, I don't know. But actually, now that I moved back to the town that I'm in now, which is the town I grew up in, different locations, so the climate's a lot different here. Very hot here. Lots of mosquitoes. But the town now has a drive-in movie theater. I still haven't been to it because I was obviously more interested in it as a child. But it's not like a theater that you would go to normal, like walk-in theater. Like they only play like one movie a month maybe, or every 2 months or something. So it's not something that's easily accessible.
Years ago when my wife and I combined the two.
Hey, are you excited?
Yeah, I am, despite my face, because I'm about to get a really authentic 1975 experience.
This
Not
is
only are we
cool.
at the drive-in theatre, but we're going to watch Jaws, admittedly from a Prius. On the one hand, this once popular American
Hey, hell
pastime
yeah.
is something you could only do once it got dark.
Wait, how do you guys watch it though? Do you do like what you do on the movies? Do you like, well, a lot of you guys might have trucks, so you might reverse in there, be on a truck bed. Do you guys like lie on the body, or do you just sit in the cars?
You see, for the projection to work in any video
I don't know.
way,
Oh, that's a good idea.
Can't answer that.
Put up the boot and sitting in the boot. Or maybe just sitting in front of the car.
Boot. That's what it's called. We called that the trunk of the car, or the back of the car. Interesting. I like it.
On the grass.
it has to be nighttime, otherwise you can't see what the heck is on the screen.
Makes
This is
sense.
particularly true when you're watching me, people watching me on a poorly lit screen. But on the other, this is one of those American summertime traditions that needs to make a comeback. Because there's something
Oh, is it
quite
dying
beautiful
out?
about taking in a Midwestern sunset
It died out.
while watching Mrs. Kittner's.
You know what? That is a shame, because that is a very like,
That is a
cool
shame.
and like it's a cute thing to do as well. Like you can do it with your family, you could do it on a date. Like yeah, it's kind of cool.
Baby boy being
I like it.
fed by a fish. As somebody who grew up in England where drive-in movie theatres never really caught on, the whole thing was really novel and unmistakably American.
Right, yeah, for sure.
I'm reasonably excited by the fact that they have little speakers.
Honestly, I've only done like a movie outside once, and it was when I was at university, and they organized like a hill bank movie. So like it was outside on like a grass bank, like a grass hill, and then there was like a movie screen. And honestly, it was really good vibes. It was. There was no cars there. You just sat there. But like it was outside. It was like the experience. It was a really nice day.
Outside of the car, and you hook them on to the window frame. The experience was so
Oh.
enjoyable, I danced for the first time
What?
since 1987. In all, I actually really enjoyed the entire experience.
Wait, did I hear that right? They got like individual speakers you put in.
Excited by the fact that they have little speakers outside of the car.
Oh, that's cool.
And you hook them on to the window frame. The experience was so
That is
enjoyable,
cool.
I danced.
I wonder if that's still the thing. Maybe I should actually try to make it to that drive-in theater this summer. I probably won't, but I should probably try. I don't know. I wonder if they still use those little radios. Because out here, Christmas lights are a pretty big thing. And if it's a really big display and people are really into it, they'll have their house lights in sync with music, and you can just like, they'll have a sign that'll show you what radio station to turn on in your car, and you can listen to the music and look at their Christmas lights. It's pretty cool. I think they also do that with Halloween lights, but I haven't experienced that. But I'm wondering if they still use those speakers. Anybody that has a drive-in movie theater out there, do you guys use these little speakers?
For the first time since 1987. In all, I actually really enjoyed the entire experience.
She made me do this.
And if I could bring back drive-in theatres en masse using my YouTube sensation powers, I would do it.
Hell yeah!
And one thing that I'm going to make you do is watch 7 American.
Hey, that was really cool though. Enjoyed that a lot. Yeah, movie theaters. Like this is just yeah, it's one of those things I see on movies, and yeah, it's one of those things I would love to experience as well. Let me know what kind of things you guys love to do during the summer in the comments. It'd be really cool to see what some of you guys are doing.
What I'm doing in the summer is trying to survive this sweltering heat. It's awful. I used to love summer since I was a child, and once I had a son, I hate the summer. Like, I hate it. I'm miserable from like March all the way until like November, when the weather gets semi-cool. Weather's completely different now. Growing up, it was not these 100-degree temperatures, which is like a normal temperature now. And our Julys, which is our monsoon season, we used to get rain almost every day, and it's very rare that we get rain now, and the temperatures are up high, and we don't get a lot of snow anymore. So that has been one of like the most devastating things for me, that we don't get the snow we used to get. I always tell everybody, I'm like, we used to have sleds, like rail sleds when we were kids, like not now where kids are just like sledding down hills on like plastic sleds. Anyways, with that, I hope I answered all the questions, and if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments and I will reply to them. Sometimes I don't get the notification, but once I do, I will reply to you. If you enjoy this video and other reviews, make sure you select the link at the end of this video. Have a good night. Bye.